Mega Froslass is a brand new Mega Evolution from Pokemon ZA. It summons the snow and able to threaten a lot of damage with a pretty strong Blizzard and Shadow Ball combinations thanks to its good special attack, and its speed tier is pretty solid. We're going to be trying out a Mega Froslass team and pair it with Jolteon and see how well it can perform. This is my Mega Froslass Jolteon team, and we are going to be breaking down the team building process for the team, then going over the individual mons, and then how to use the team, and then we're going to be trying out some games. So let's begin with the team building process. So first, why Jolteon? And the reason I decided to go with Jolteon and Froslass and why I wanted to experiment with it was because I really liked the idea of Jolteon because of its speed tier. Base 130 is incredible on Jolteon, and it is really able to outspeed most of the format besides maybe speed time if Aerodactyl losing to Mega Delphox. And then there's like Mega Aerodactyl, but otherwise Jolteon is able to outspeed most of the format, which is pretty solid. Has a decent special attacks out of 110 and has some really good coverage options, especially that Electro Web, which is fantastic speed control. Electric and Ice is really good coverage, especially. And one team that I really remember using was a team that was able to get top 8 at Worlds that featured Regieleki plus Froslass, and Ice and Electric coverage is just really good. I actually used that team for quite a bit in the format, and then also I brought Regieleki to the World Championship in 2025, and the fast Electric speed control is just really solid. And with Mega Froslass, because it doesn't have the greatest special attack stat out of all the Megas, I think it needs a little bit of help, and I want to be able to run that modest nature because increasing that special attack is really good. But the problem is that makes it slower than opposing Mega Froslass potentially and a bunch of other threats. So felt like the Jolteon with its speed tier, the Electric Web plus Blizzard, really hard to be able to switch into because Ice and Electric coverage is fantastic because Electric is just able to hit super effectively into water types, which are very common switch-ins for Blizzard. And then of course the Blizzard is able to cover for the ground type Pokemon that want to switch in on the electric coverage. So it's a really strong combination and really hard to stop that spread Electro Web plus Blizzard combination or the fake Tears plus Blizzard Shadow Ball, which maybe Froslass needs to get a knockout. Yeah, I thought that was going to be a cool tech I really want to try out, and that's where the team idea was formed. Then for the rest of the team, I had debated a lot about like these other slots. So I did want the Garchomp. I wanted a Choice Scarf Garchomp mainly because I thought Delphox was going to be pretty annoying to the team. Mega Delphox is definitely scary. Charizard Y. Even like opposing Garchomp can be a little bit annoying if they're Choice Scarf as well. So I kind of wanted something that was able to be able to outspeed Pokemon like Aerodactyl, be able to threaten the Aerodactyl as well. Because if I go for a speed type with Jolteon with like Garchomp, like it could be with the Choice Scarf Garchomp, I could KO the Aerodactyl before it sets up Tailwind, and that could be a really nice situation. So I did want a Choice Scarf Mon, and I felt Garchomp was pretty solid, especially with the coverage options that it does have access to. And the ground coverage is also pretty nice to have, especially because the ground plus the ice coverage is also another solid typing that's really great against flying types that do be immune to the ground type moves, as well as the grass types that do resist the ground type moves as well. So I think it was a pretty strong combination with Garchomp, Jolteon, and Froslass. Next Pokemon I wanted to add was going to be a Intimidate Mon because it does help out with the Froslass. Doesn't have the best defense. Even with the snow defense boost, I still am not taking the physical hits that well, so I thought having Intimidate would be nice. I also wanted to switch in to Charizard Y and then still be able to apply the offensive pressure, which is great. So I thought, you know what? I think Arcanine Hisui is really good, and we've seen Hisui and Arcanine win a regional championship with Snow before, where it's more offensive into Pokemon like the fire types that do threaten the Froslass, as well as the steel types with its great coverage, able to switch in again on the fire type moves more consistently, and also the fact that speed tier is kind of nicer on this kind of team where it's more of a fast-paced offensive team. So I did really like having the Hisui and Arcanine there. Rocks like to be able to hit the fire types, especially the Incineroar as well as the Rotom Heat. The Flare Blitz is really great coverage across the board. Extreme Speed Priority is also great on an offensive team because if I miss a knockout and I need the Extreme Speed to pick up a knockout, yeah, that priority is solid. And felt Hisui and Arcanine was a pretty good roll. Then the rest, I was kind of messing around with some slots. I had Tinkaton in the builder at one point because I thought Fake Out plus Feint could be really cool. I also debated about running Gyarados because of the fact that I'd have a really good flying type to be able to switch in with the Garchomp, and it'd also be able to switch into Charizard as well. I've also debated about several other slots including the final version you see now is Sneasel plus Hydreigon. I just wanted to make sure that I had a way to be able to hit Tinkaton. So it was either going to be like Sneasler or Tinkaton, and I also wanted a way to be able to threaten at least the King Gambits, because King Gambit can be a little bit scary for the current team. In the end, I decided to go a little bit boring here. I added the Sneasler because it is one of the best mons to be able to hit the King Gambit and the Floet combinations, which are always really scary. And it's also another bonus option to be able to threaten the Charizard Y. So I have 3 rock moves, and having multiple rock moves against the Charizard Y when you're running Froslass, I think is pretty nice to have. Then the final member, I was having a little bit of trouble, I think, with Basculegion especially. I thought Basculegion and Trick Room were a little bit annoying. Granted, I still think Trick Room is pretty annoying for the team, especially. I had like a Taunt Gyarados at one point. The thing I didn't like about Gyarados was I had double Intimidate, and I didn't really want to sacrifice Intimidate on either Arcanine or Gyarados because the abilities were going to be inferior, because the Gyarados I was running a support set, and then the Hisuian Arcanine I wasn't running Rock Head really. It just wasn't going to be a thing since I'm not running Head Smash. So I felt that I might as well just decide to go with Hydreigon, because I thought Hydreigon was pretty nice, as it is able to do pretty well into the Farigiraf, into the Torkoal stuff, and some of the other Trick Room mods. And it's pretty good defensively type-wise. It also provided a dark coverage, so I actually have a switch in to the Ghost type moves, which I think really did appreciate on this team, as well as a ground resist / immunity. So Hydreigon ended up being the final member, and Snarl is able to help out against those special attackers under the Trick Room, especially the Citrus Berry as well, going to be good with its defensive typing against the Trick Room type teams, but also can be pretty offensive. And I wanted another mon that could take advantage of the Fake Tears from Jolteon. Since I'm running Fake Tears, I don't want to just run it for Froslass. I want at least one more Pokemon to run with. So we are going to be running it with the Hydreigon and seeing how well the team can perform. That was the idea behind the final version of this team. Now let's break down the individual members. So first Pokemon up is going to be Jolteon, and this Jolteon is max speed, max special attack, and a little bit in bulk for the rest, because it is going to be the Focus Sash Jolteon, because it is a pretty frail Pokemon. And the idea of Jolteon just being able to dish out as much damage as it can with its special attack, same type attack bonus. 110 special attack isn't the worst, and 130 speed is pretty solid, even though it does speed tie, for instance, Aerodactyl and a few others. It's still faster than a majority of the format, which means I can go for Electroweb speed control, and then with my modest Froslass, I will be able to take advantage of the special attack and dish out a ton of damage. The Fake Tears plus Blizzard or Shadow Ball combination for my Froslass, as well as my Hydreigon, is also going to be coming into play, which is another reason I really want to try Jolteon, because in some cases, even though Bolt Beam coverage of Electric and Ice is just really solid throughout, because of the fact that you're able to hit, for instance, the ground types that switch into the electric type moves, or the water types that switch into the ice type moves. Sometimes you need a little bit of extra power, and that Fake Tears can be really nice to be able to power up the Froslass, or could be a really good combination in with my Hydreigon. So felt like Jolteon's pretty cool, one of the fastest Pokemon in the format, access to some speed control. Volt Absorber is a cool ability which is able to heal itself from getting hit by an electric type move. It doesn't take any damage, it actually, and I do think it does have a niche role in this format, with being one of the fastest electric types available to us. Next Pokemon we have is going to be the Mega Froslass, and the regular Froslass up first is going to be the Curse Body ability before it Mega Evolves, because Snow Cloak is basically useless on Froslass because you need the snow to be set up after you Mega Evolve. So unless you're fighting a Snow Mirror, and most likely they're clicking Blizzard anyway, there's not really a point of, I think, having Snow Cloak. Curse Body can be actually pretty nice, because if you have to sack Froslass on a switch potentially, that Curse Body could activate, which could actually matter for like choice users and more important powerful attacks. So that is going to be the idea behind the Froslass on the Curse Body. But Mega Froslass, definitely an interesting Pokemon. It has a pretty solid base 120 speed stat, pretty solid special attack and special defense, with a pretty solid 140 special attack especially. However, its defense, not that great. Its HP, not solid. However, thanks to the snow defense boost that it does get from being an ice type, it can be pretty solid at taking attacks, especially, and fire off some pretty good damage. And the idea behind this Froslass is it's going to be modest with max speed, because we already have the Jolteon, which is going to help us be able to outspeed other Pokemon in that 120 range, because we have Electroweb, and I don't really need to play Speed Tie, but I'd rather get as much damage as I possibly can with the Froslass, especially because it's got a solid special attack stat, but it's still weak compared to some of the other mons. You kind of need as much damage as you possibly can get with that Blizzard and Shadow Ball combination. So that is why I'm going with the Modest Nature to dish out as much damage as possible, especially to make it so Fake Tears into an attack from the Froslass is very likely to actually be able to KO heavy threats, such as like our Chaladon, such as any other types of Pokemon generally, just like big bulky steel types, big bulky mons in general. So near max special attack, max speed, a little bit of extra into the defense and special defense, but across the board, really offensive. And since this is going to be an offensive Froslass, we're going to be running Substitute on it because it is really nice to be able to have a way to absorb one hit potentially with the Mega Froslass, especially if they're playing defensive, which is pretty solid, I'd say. So I'd be able to stall out turns using Substitute, maybe get an Electro Web off with the Jolteon, then maybe can go for like a Fake Tears combo attack. Also, of course, for the Sucker Punch for King Gambit, Substitute I think is a solid move here on this choice. Don't really need a Roar Veil on this team because it's more of an offensive team that's wanting to take knockouts. So next Pokemon we have is going to be the Hisuian Arcanine, and I think Hisuian Arcanine is pretty nice, especially with Snow. We saw it win a regional championship back in the Scarlet Violet era. Of course, there was no choice band in this format compared to the previous one, but a Pokemon that is able to A, resist Fairy is always solid, B, the fact that it is able to apply more offensive pressure against opposing fire types and opposing steel types, which is solid. It's also speed tier is more fantastic than Incineroar because it's actually able to threaten more. And especially as a rock fire type, having that coverage to be able to hit Charizard Y is really, really good when you're running a Froslass team. And of course, quad resisting the heat waves and the weather balls overheats is always a huge positive. So we are going to be running the offensive Hisuian Arcanine here, and we are going to be running with the maximum attack. So the Flare Blitz and Rock Slides and Extreme Speeds can do as much damage as possible. We have a good amount of speed investment. This is just so I can outspeed Modest Venusaur, and then the rest is going to go into HP. This allows me to guarantee live some attacks like the Sucker Punch from boosted King Gambit, especially if it gets a Defiant boost and if it has Black Glasses. That's kind of the idea of this Arcanine. And it's also running the Chople Berry on this Hisuian Arcanine because of the fact that Sneasel, a little bit of a pain to handle. So the fact that I can get to the Intimidate off, activate its Wider, then it goes for close combat, then I have a Chople Berry, then I can Flare Blitz the Sneasel. Yeah, that's an interaction that can definitely happen. And I think it's pretty solid to be able to help out, especially against like low kick King Gambit as well. That's been popular. So I think just having the Chople Berry is really nice in this format for Arcanine to be able to take some hits. Next Pokemon we have is going to be pretty standard Sneasel for the most part. Max attack, max speed, a little bit of extra into defense. Unburden, of course, is going to be nice to double its speed when its items consumed, and it's going to be that White Herb Sneasel, which is very nice here, especially against opposing Intimidate. It's going to be one of my main offenses against the Fairy types, especially the Mega Floette and the Mega Gardevoir, because I do need to be able to put on the pressure against those really specially defensive Fairy types that can definitely live a Fake Tears Blizzard combination. So we're going to have this Sneasel, which is able to help out against those. And I also have a backup tool against Charizard. We're going to be running the Rock Tomb on this Sneasel. You might be wondering why Rock Tomb over Rock Slide. I thought the extra speed control could be nice because we are stacking up with Electro Web on Jolteon. And of course, as I said before, I am running a slower Froslass. I think Rock Tomb can be pretty nice on this Sneasel. Can allow my Froslass to, again, outspeed like a Scarf Garchomp or a bunch of other Pokemon that I think Rock Tomb is just nice. And of course, a little bit extra power, more power into the Charizard Ys out there. So I think having Rock Tomb is just nice for that extra form speed control. It also helps me with Basculegion, especially Choice Scarf Basculegion. So that is another reason why I want to have the Rock Tomb. Next Pokemon we have is going to be Hydreigon, and I think Hydreigon's a pretty underrated Pokemon in this format. Dark Dragon is a fantastic typing. Of course, there are a bunch of Fairy types, though they are mostly going to be from the Mega Evolution, but I think Hydreigon's really solid. I felt that the team a little bit weak to Basculegion. Basculegion is just such a big threat, especially with that Choice Scarf, the Last Respect. It's going to be a little bit of pain, and also I thought Trick Room was a little bit annoying, so I think that Hydreigon can actually do pretty well against a lot of the Trick Room teams, especially with this Snarl option, able to lower the special attack of both Pokemon. Assuming it's not the King Gambit plus Farigiraf, then you have to play a little bit cautiously, but against a lot of the Trick Room setters or Trick Room sweepers like the Mega Camerupt as well as the Torkoal, especially the Snarl into Farigiraf as well that they always bring, it's actually pretty nice because it's not easy for them to actually dish out as much damage because Hydreigon is able to resist a lot of the attacks and go for the Snarl as well. Then we also have coverage with Draco Meteor and Dark Pulse, especially with the Fake Tears Jolteon that could take advantage. The Hydreigon could actually pick up knockouts thanks to those Fake Tears combo. and then protect, of course. And then EV spread wise, this has enough speed to be able to speed creep the Jolly Scarf Basculegion, which I felt was pretty nice. And then the rest is going to go out into its special attack to do as much damage as possible. And then just a little bit of extra bulk for the remainder, because I don't see a point of running max speed on the Hydreigon. It gets some better rolls with the Dragon Claw from some Garchomps that are adamant nature. I just felt like it was just better to have like a little bit of investment other than like the random speed, which maybe comes into play, but I'd say is super situational. The idea here is Hydreigon going to be faster than a Jolly Basculegion, because with the Sneasler, I go for Rock Tomb plus Dark Pulse into the Basculegion, take the knockout, or also Electro Web is also a play that I can go for as well. As long as I'm outspeeding the Jolly Basculegion, it is pretty solid here, while having some bulk for, again, Trick Room matchup, and of course the Garchomp roll on Dragon Claw. But with that Citrus Berry, it's probably better into some of the Trick Room mods, because I'll be able to live some stuff like Hyper Voice Eruptions from a Farigiraf Torkoal combination. And Hydreigon actually has a pretty good typing, so it can actually take attacks from like Basculegion. As I said before, the Citrus Berry can actually be nice for the recovery. Final Pokemon on this team is going to be the Adamant Garchomp, which is able to do a ton of damage, especially running its maximum attack. We have a lot of speed, and the amount of speed with the Choice Scarf that it does hold is able to allow it to be able to outspeed Mega Aerodactyl, which is actually kind of scary for my team. I don't think they run max speed Aerodactyl, but I was wanting to outspeed at least Jolly Scarf Basculegion, and it's only a few points more, so I might as well just max it out. And then the rest is going to go into bulk to be able to survive. Again, maybe like some rolls like opposing Garchomp Dragon Claw, or maybe some King Gambit situations with Sucker Punch. Yeah, I think overall it is able to do the work that I needed to do, which is of course the fast offensive coverage that it does provide. The Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Rock Slide, Stomping Tantrum, pretty standard coverage moves for the Scarf Garchomp. Stomping Tantrum, especially because you want to be able to hit the Pokemon and not to be locked into Self Earthquake, because the only ground immunity on my team is going to be the Hydreigon, so I don't want to be locked into Earthquake all the time. But that spread Earthquake, of course, is really good when positioned properly. And then the rest of the coverage moves, pretty simple. Like Garchomp just fulfills the role. It's pretty solid with the speed tier, especially with allowing me to be able to outspeed Aerodactyl and a bunch of others. And I already have a fast pairing team with the Jolteon, faster than the Mega Delphox, which I think is kind of nice when Froslass is a little bit concerned. So I do think that the Garchomp is going to be helping out here, especially to help out against those kinds of matchups and be able to dish out a good amount of damage, good as a strong starter or a endgame cleaner. So how to use the team? Well, the idea of the team, it is a pretty fast-paced offensive team. Just do the damage, get the knockouts, position yourself for the knockouts, and have somebody in the back that's able to clean up afterward. That's basically the main idea of this team. It doesn't really switch as much with this team because of the fact that it is pretty frail. You don't want to give up your Focus Sash on Jolteon normally. Scarf Garchomp can kind of switch in. Froslass is not a mon that can switch in. Sneaser's not ideally want to switch in. Maybe Arcanine Hydreigon in some situations where you got to play a little bit more cautious with the resources. But across the board, you want to try to get as much damage as possible. You could lead a lot of different combinations. For instance, the Jolteon Froslass combination, if you are able to Thunderbolt or Electro Web or Fake Tears into the Blizzard Shadow Ball combination, is really solid, especially because of the fact that Jolteon with that speed tier going to be incredible for allowing Froslass to outspeed afterward, and then go for a really strong Blizzard Shadow Ball, or the Fake Tears plus the Shadow Ball or Blizzard can get a really strong knockout combination. You could also do the same with Jolteon plus Hydreigon in certain matchups if the Hydreigon is looking pretty solid there. Otherwise, you have a few other different combinations, of course, that could lead. Froslass plus the Arcanine is pretty solid for the Intimidate, and then being able to Mega Evolve if your Froslass gets a Snow Defense boost. You also have the Scarf Garchomp that can lead immediately with any of your offensive attackers with Froslass plus Sneasler plus Jolteon and get a bunch of damage across the board. Hydreigon is a pretty solid lead with the Garchomp as well if they have no Fairy type, because you do have access to some pretty strong attacks with the Garchomp, and then a follow-up from Hydreigon. And yeah, there's like several different offensive leads that you could really go for. I'd say that the Garchomp likes to lead, or at least be kept in the back, because it's one of the best offensive, like go for straight up damage and then weaken them and then have one other Pokemon that can clean up in the back. Or it's really good at being able to clean up end games, because Choice Scarf Garchomp really hard to be able to outspeed. And then of course, you have really just offensive tools in general with like Froslass Jolteon, or just playing simple like just getting some good chip damage across the board and then find a way to get like a double knockout using your spread moves is effective with this team. If you would like to check out the details of the team, They will be linked down below in the description. Otherwise, let's get started and play some games. All right, we have Delphox, Aegislash, Incineroar, Sneasler, Hydreigon, and Garchomp. So they're really weak to Garchomp. They have 4 ground weeks, technically 3 because Mega Delphox for sure. But that is an insane amount of weeks to Garchomp. Okay. Which we are 100% bringing, by the way. So I'm bringing Garchomp. I think Garchomp Froslass is pretty good because I have Scarf Chomp, which is pretty nice here. Having Scarf Garchomp's pretty nice with Froslass. And then who do I want in the back? I think Hydreigon is just such a good switch in for most of this team. I'm gonna bring Jolteon. Jolteon doesn't accomplish much. Sneasler is kind of weird here. I think Arcanine's probably the best Mon here because Extreme Speed Cleanup's nice and Intimidate for Garchomp's always good. So let's see what they decide to go here. Like Jolteon didn't really do anything here, unfortunately. There's nothing that really hit. And I don't need the fake tears because Garchomp and Hydreigon kind of get KOs on everything. They lead Sneasler plus the Delphox, which is perfectly fine by me. As I lead Froslass plus the Garchomp. Okay. Does Delphox KO Froslass? I want to say no. This is probably fake out into the Garchomp and Heat Wave or Psychic. I got a lot of plays I could go for. If they have sub, that's fine. I could go for Stomping, go into Hydreigon. I am tempted on going for that. And I think I will go for that. They retreat to Sneasler into Aegislash. Huh. Okay. Not what I expected, but that works out. I didn't expect that. And double the Hydreigon for that reason. Okay. They do Mega Evolve to Delphox. Is this Psychic or Heat Wave? Because I'm curious on what I go for the next turn. I might double into the Delphox with Snarl plus Stomping. Okay, this is not how I imagined the turn would have played out, but I will gladly take it. Yeah, good damage to Aegislash. I don't see why I wouldn't go for Stomping into the Delphox and go for Dark and go for Snarl. I don't knock out Delphox with Dark Pulse anyway. I like the amount of pressure that I can have against the Sneasler. Yeah, if they do that, like if they switch in Sneasler or Incineroar, still pretty good turn. I get good damage into both. You might think I'm bad, but I mean, I was trying to cover a switch. Like I had no reason to really switch out to Garchomp, so. Oh my goodness. I crit the Incineroar for making that good of a play. I crit the Incineroar for making that good of a play. And Snarl. I'm gonna go into the Aegislash. That's an insane way to start out the game. We'll gladly take it, but oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Like, could I have asked for like a better couple of turns right there? Trying to figure out what the pivot into Aegislash. I guess they didn't expect Stomping. They probably expected me to only have EQ. Sneasler comes in. I guess I gotta be a little bit careful, but you know what Pokemon I don't really need right now? I'm gonna Stomping to Sneasler and I'm just gonna go Froslass because I don't really need Froslass. And they might also go for Close Combat Hydreigon because they have a really tough time against a Hydreigon. So I'm willing to go Froslass here on a potential Close Combat. Also, they didn't go for anything, so Close Combat into, yep, the Froslass and a Poltergeist, I guess, into the Garchomp. Yeah, Poltergeist into Garchomp. I'm not in Shadow Sneak range. Yeah, this is a wrap. I think I go for Stomping Tantrum into... Well, it's not a wrap yet, actually. Actually, it is, because the Sneaser's in Arcanine Extreme Speed range now. I bet I could just Mega Evolve, go for Stomping Tantrum, Shadow Ball, or I could go for Sub. But I think I like Shadow Ball better. into Sneasler. Yeah, because if they retreat to Sneasler, I get the Delphox on the switch, which is pretty good for me. I guess Aegislash probably played aggressive here, which you kind of have to in their case. Or maybe they actually do protect here, and if they protect, that's fine. Because I was like, okay, if I get rid of Sneasler, again, Hydreigon just wins. So that's why I'm like, they have to preserve the Hydreigon, or the Sneasler. And I felt like Hard Switch was a bit more likely. They go for Shadow Sneak into Chomp. Puts me low, but at this point, like, Shadow Ball will... I want to say doesn't KO Delphox, but everything's in extreme speed range now. Like, how did it... Now, Arcanine just wins in the end game. Yeah, exactly. Because even though I don't knock out Delphox, I just win the end game anyway with Arcanine plus the Froslass. So, pretty good turns. We will go for Stomping, and we'll go for a Protect. Yeah, they're going to Shadow Sneak Heat Wave here. And I don't really need to Scarf Chomp. I guess, like... Nah, I still have Hydra... Maybe I could have preserved the Garchomp. I don't think I really need to, though. Like, if they switch out Aegislash into Sneasler, that's fine. That means they Heat Waved here to KO the Garchomp. They have to hit Heat Wave. Wait, yeah, wait. They know I'm Scarf. They should have just Shadow Sneaked. I guess they were hard rating me to swap out Garchomp, but I got rid of Sneasler, and now Hydreigon wins. They go for Heat Wave. Again, I was pretty much set on just winning the game with Arcanine next to Froslass. Maybe there's a line where it's like Sneasler plus Delphox, and then I had to pick an extreme speed target. Most likely I'm extreme speeding the Sneasler always, but yeah, like Arcanine was just going to be able to win. I also still had Hydreigon in this end game if Sneasler went down, so this is perfect. I go Arcanine, I click extreme speed plus the Shadow Ball, and there's like no way for my opponent to win now. Because extreme speed will clean up the Delphox and Shadow Ball will KO the Aegislash. Very interesting. And that's kind of the thing about their team. They had really not the best answers to Chomp, especially Scarf Chomp. Scarf Chomp seemed really scary. They go for a King Shield. They're hoping, I think, for no extreme speed, but yeah, I just have extreme speed, so I KO the Delphox. So Delphox goes down, and now it's Aegislash 2v1, and I guarantee to win because there's nothing the Aegislash can do in this position. It goes down to every single attack that I do have on my remaining Mons, and can't break through them, so battle gonna be forfeited. Beautiful. Scarf Garchomp power, as I saw, their team was really weak to it. Turn 1 couldn't have played out any better than I expected. And Hydreigon ended up being like a really cool double up or a double switch, which really benefited. All right, we have Scizor, Arcanine, Sneasler, Tyranitar, Rotomosh, and the Sinistcha. So it could be dual Mega Evolves here with Tyranitar and the Scizor. Both are pretty decent threats. Rotomosh, a little bit scary. Okay, how do I want to go for this? I like Arcanine a lot. Arcanine Hydreigon seems pretty decent for the most part. I do like Arcanine plus Hydreigon. Do I want Sneasler? Sneasler's really good for the Tyranitar, of course, but it's kind of weak against everything else. Like, I like Arcanine, I like Hydreigon. I'm a little bit concerned about my damage I put into Tyranitar, I suppose, but I do have ways to play around it. I could also decide not to bring Froslass because there is, of course, Scizor, Arcanine, and Tyranitar, but it is really good as a fighting pivot for the others. I feel like Scarf Chomp is the way to go here. But I might have wanted Sneasler for the close combat. They're definitely bringing Tyranitar, though, for sure. I think Tyranitar, Rotomosh always is brought out here. The question is what the rest is. They also, unless they're Mega Tyranitar, they don't lead Tyranitar, so I'm not expecting Tyranitar on the lead. Scizor, Sneasler. Okay, this works out. As we lead Hydreigon plus the Arcanine. Wide Herb on the Sneasler. That's not surprising. They have to be scared of fire moves in general. I'm going for a double switch here, I think. I'm going to go for a double switch. Actually, no. I'm switching out the Arcanine and the Garchomp in case they Bullet Punch close combat this slot for some reason. And I'm going into the Froslass on the Hydreigon. It also resists a bug attack if they decide to go for it. Alright, so they brought Scizor, which of course Bullet Punch is threatening, but that's alright. They are neutral Sneasler, -1 Scizor, which is fine. We bring out the Garchomp. They Mega Evolve with the Scizor immediately. Okay, so no Mega Tyranitar. That's good news. I do need Garchomp somewhat healthy, though, to beat the Sneasler. Is this Fake Out? No, they hard CC into Hydreigon. Interesting. And Sora Sands. Okay, that's acceptable. It's not great, but it's acceptable. Okay. I think here I'd probably just want to get a Stomping Tantrum off. I'm going to target down the... Do I want to target the Sneasler? Or do I want to target the Scizor? Scizor's kind of boosting up to be a big threat. I could Earthquake Protect here. My fear is that they go for Bullet Punch Close Combat, double up into the Garchomp, and take the knockout. I think I Stomping the Sneasler and I go out into Arcanine. So is it Rotom Tyranitar back? We bring out Arcanine, so it's now neutral Scizor and -1 Sneasler. They go for Bullet Punch into Garchomp, so I'm assuming this is Close Combat double up. Beautiful. I do live that. Yep. So the Arcanine switch was good. I think they expected Froslass to protect there, so that's really good for me. I do get the KO into the Sneasler. And now the question is the Rotom, if it's in the back, because I feel like you need answers to the Arcanine, but we'll see. I could have also just went for Flare Blitz turn 1. They go on the Rotom. Yep, that makes sense. I just need to know if it's Scarf. I just need to know if it's Scarf. I'm assuming Tyranitar is the last stand. If they protect Scizor, we get to confirm it's not Scarf Rotom, because if it's Scarf Rotom, they would go for the Hydro Pump plus Bullet Punch here. Or maybe Sword Stance plus Hydro. That works too. If I put the Rotom into range of Extreme Speed, that's pretty decent for me. So let's see. Retreat the Garchomp to go out into Hydreigon. And protect the Arcanine to fearing the Hydro Pump. They went raw for the Hydro Pump, so I'm assuming it's Scarf. Oh, they Hydro Pump the Hydreigon. Okay. And they Sword Stance. Alright. I'm just going to go for Draco Meteor into the Rotom at this point, because I need the damage into Rotom. And I'm willing to sack the Froslass here if they go for a Bullet Punch. They might just Hydro the Arcanine slot and just go for like Close Combat into the Hydreigon slot though, which is fine for me. Okay, bring out the Froslass, because I need Garchomp for the Tyranitar. Yeah, they Bullet Punch. Ooh, that Hydro Pump miss was actually huge earlier. Okay. Survives. Hydro Pump coming into Froslass. I'll tank it. Wait, what? Oh. Okay. Cursed Body active. Wait, that's huge. Wait, that's a huge Cursed Body. Okay. We get the Draco Meteor off. Doesn't KO the Rotom. It's definitely Scarf Rotom, though. All right, we get to go Arcanine, and we can click. We can threaten the Flare Blitz into the Scizor, and we go for a Draco into the Rotom slot to pick up the knockout, or just get chip damage on Tyranitar coming in. Okay, not a bad turn. Not a bad turn. They retreat Rotom. This is Tyranitar. Oh, Sinistra. Ooh, they have Rage Powder. They have Rage Powder as a threat. I thought they would bring Tyranitar. I guess if you have Scizor, you don't really need Tyranitar. But I thought Tyranitar was good against my team. We get Draco off into the Sinistra. Unfortunately, I went for the Draco. Oh. Yeah, that's a tough spot. I think I just have to Flare Blitz Dark Pulse. They're probably Rage Powdering, but if they don't go for Bullet Punch, I could get a flinch with Dark Pulse, which is what I'm after. So let's see. They Bullet Punch a Hydra. Wait, that works for me. As long as Arcanine's out of +2 Bullet Punch range, this is gonna be close. Okay, I get rid of Sinistra. And now I have Extreme Speed Pressure. Do they know I'm Scarf on the Garchomp? Did we indicate that earlier in the game? Yeah, because we outsped the Sneasler. So we go out into Garchomp. And I Extreme Speed the Rotom, or do I Flare Blitz? I think this is a big call, because it depends on who they target. I think my best play is to always stomping the Scizor. I either Dragon Claw the Rotom and Flare Blitz here, but the problem is that loses to Bullet Punch to Garchomp. But I'm not exactly sure what their play is. They could also go for the Arcanine, which I think is fair. But the problem is, again, I could Dragon Claw the Rotom and Flare Blitz threaten the Scizor. So there's no safe play for my opponent, I think. I think it's just a call between both of us. And they went aggressive here. Did they close combat or did they SD again? They SD'd again, so this is a target call now. I think they protect the Scizor to scout for my Protect on Arcanine because I revealed Protect earlier. Yeah. Yep. Okay. We're playing a 50-50. We're playing a legitimate 50-50 the next turn. Okay. It's a legitimate 50-50 the next turn. So I have to Stomping. The question is, am I clicking Protect or am I clicking Flare Blitz? I think I Protect. Who did they Bullet Punch? The Scizor or the Garchomp? Or the Garchomp or the Arcanine? It was the Arcanine. I got him. Okay. And then Stomping Tantrum will KO the Scizor. Oh, boy. So I did 35 and then that did 32. I mean, they're definitely Bullet Punching the Arcanine. I could go for Extreme Speed, but the thing is that they Bullet Punch the Garchomp. Actually, no. It's always fine to Extreme Speed here. The reason why it's always fine to Extreme Speed is because if they Bullet Punch a Garchomp, they take Rough Skin damage. So I think Extreme Speed, Rough Skin damage, Extreme Speed would KO the Scizor anyway. Yeah, they Bullet Punch the Garchomp, but the Rough Skin will put in range of Extreme Speed, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it looks like I do. Oh, okay. Because if I don't get the roll, I lose the game, so I'm not risking that. But I think Extreme Speed should KO this is our 10%. Ooh, okay. Extreme Speed? KOs the Scizor. Gotta be bailed by the Hydro Pump miss, I won't lie, but on the Hydreigon, but that is Hydro Pump for you. That is Hydro Pump for you. I guess I should Dark Pulse. I really didn't think it was Sinistra back, but somehow clutched it out. Somehow clutched it out, especially because they targeted the Hydreigon slot, thankfully, and not the Arcanine, which was huge. All right, we have Como, Froslass, Basculegion, Arcanine, Scovillain, and the Sneasler. So interesting to see the... All right, there's a lot of threats here. I feel like I should be Scarf Basculegion. They need speed on this team, but I'm not 100% certain. Froslass Mirror is interesting. I actually really do like my Jolteon. Jolteon Froslass is actually pretty good here, I'd say. Yeah, it's pretty solid here. And then I think in the back, I don't want my own Sneasler. It doesn't really do much in this game. The Como's a bit scary, so it might be Scarf Garchomp with Arcanine, since I can actually switch into Blizzard and their own Arcanine, which is good. Yeah, I think I bring that. I'm not really a huge fan of Hydreigon in this matchup. It doesn't do too much other than Bask. But I think with Jolteon, Intimidate from Arcanine, as well as the Garchomp, I might have enough control to deal with it. Let's see. What are you leading here? Basculegion, Scovillain. Okay. Interesting lead. Versus Jolteon and Froslass. I don't expect any setups immediately. I think Protect is pretty safe here because I just want to scout for speed tiers. I guess the problem is I could be giving Scovillain a chance to get a good Moody boost if it protects. But are you going to protect in this position? I could threaten sub. It is Mega Scovillain, so I don't have to worry about any other Mega Evolution in this game. I don't think they had any though, if I'm not mistaken. Mega Scovillain, we've seen how much of a threat that is. It also means it doesn't have his access to its Moody boost, which is nice at least. So we double protect. And what did they go for? Rage Powder. Okay. And flip turn? Last Respect? Wave Crash. Into the Jolteon. Interesting. Okay. Scovillain drops to the Blizzard, I'm pretty sure. And I think my best play is to go for Fake Tears Blizzard. Yeah, I'm gonna Fake Tears Blizzard here. I'll get a bunch of damage off. The only problem is dealing with their own Frost. Well, I do have Arcanine back, so this is fine. I could have went for Electro Web Blizzard, but that doesn't knock out back. Actually, with the recoil it would. But there's also the chance. Oh, Helping Hand. Wave Crash? Into Froslass? Oh no, it's in the Jolteon. Okay, this is actually super ideal. So we know A, it's Scarf Basket Legion. Good to confirm on that. I have the Focus Sash. They take a bunch of recoil. This is a big Blizzard coming out. And that should knock out Scovillain, I imagine. If it doesn't, it actually might be better for me. But yeah, I do KO the Scovillain, which is going to burn me. But I think this is a pretty decent spot. Yeah, because Froslass goes down. All right. Froslass of their own can come in though. Are they gonna risk a speed tie though? No, they go Arcanine first. Okay, that's actually better for me. I think this is a really, really good spot for me because I'm willing to go for a Thunderbolt Shadow Ball into the... Actually, do I Thunderbolt Shadow Ball or do I E-Speed? Or Electro Web? I think I Electro Web Shadow Ball the Bask because if they switch on to... Oh wait, it can't be Froslass in the back. I just realized it can't be Froslass because they already Mega Ball Scovillain. So back-wise, could be Sneasler, could be Como. If it's Como, that's fine, I think. Nah, we're good. I think my play here is to Thunderbolt the Bask and protect the Froslass. Okay. The extreme speed, that's fine. Did they knock out Froslass with Wave Crash? I want to say no. But because the snow defense boost, I feel like makes it so much different. I mean, my place always go Garchomp here regardless. Is it Sneasler back? Here's Sneasler. I think my best play here is just to Dragon Claw the Bask and go out into Arcanine. The reason why I think this is the best play is because if it's their own Sneasler in the back, I think I'm in a pretty good chance to win anyway. Dragon Claw should knock out the Bask, and I am fast in Basket Legion thanks to the Choice Scarf, and I'm adamant, so I max speed and I will KO. If they protect Arcanine, this works out for me. They couldn't threaten my Garchomp and my Arcanine anyway. So Dragon Claw will come out. It knocks out the Scarf Bask. So I take the knockout, and now I threaten Dragon Claw Extreme Speed into Como. I just wanted to play around Clanger Soul Como because I didn't want to give them a free chance to set up. They go Sneasler here, which is fine. Yeah, that's fine. We can go out in a Froslass for the Garchomp, and we can just protect. Yeah, because they can't get the Unburdened Speed Boost because they can't close combat this turn. Because it fails regardless. So I go for the Protect. They go for Close Combat. Is this Rock Slide? or Flare Blitz. If they Flare Blitz, I mean, that loses them the game, so they have to Rock Slide, which is ideal. I mean, Froslass dodging is like whatever to me. Froslass lived. I would have actually been fine with Froslass going down, but if I got crit, but I know I lived anyway. I go for Blizzard and I go for Extreme Speed. No, I don't go for Extreme Speed. I go for Flare Blitz because I'm Choppel, so I live the attack from the Sneasler. Or do I Extreme Speed because it could be Max Speed Arcanine and I don't want to risk getting unlucky here? Well, they're -1 Arcanine too, so I think I just Flare Blitz. Blizzard. Good damage. I don't know if Extreme Speed would have KO'd. It is the Choppa Berry on my Arcanine. Okay. That's definitely max attack Sneasler. White Herb. Are they faster Arcanine? That's not too surprising to me. I mean, that's still fine for me because Garchomp wins. Because Extreme Speed into close combat doesn't knock out. I guess like Dire Claw could happen. Dire Claw could very much happen. But yeah, we go into Garchomp. Is my best play to Shadow Ball Stomping? No, I think it's just Earthquake and Protect. No, yeah, it is Earthquake Protect actually. Because even if they protect both the Scout, even if they, like, let's say, crit the Garchomp the next turn with close combat or Extreme Speed, then I could Shadow Ball the Sneasler, and then I should be able to Shadow Ball KO the Arcanine afterwards. So yeah, they're going to protect the Scout for what the Garchomp's locking into. I always lock in the EQ here. The Unburdened Sneasler is faster, but yeah, I just don't see them KOing my Garchomp with -1 Extreme Speed into close combat. Yeah. So I can go for Shadow Ball into the Sneasler, and I can go for Earthquake. I'm pretty sure Garchomp just wins regardless. I'd be very shocked if this calc fails me, but yeah, they go for Extreme Speed. They also take the Rough Skin, so they're in Shadow Ball range for my Froslass. They go for close combat. I'm like pretty confident I live. Yeah, not even close. And then Scarf Garchomp wins the game with Earthquake. So beautiful right there. All right, awesome. I'm able to KO the Sneasler, KO the Arcanine, and KO my own Froslass, but Froslass on the bench. It only came down to maybe like Dire Claws, statuses, and crits. But even if they did get one of those, like, it was fine. Again, Shadow Ball KOs the Sneasler if they KO the Garchomp, or if they get a Dire Claw status, then I can Shadow Ball the Arcanine and just win. So they would need what, like a triple protect, I think? How many turns of burn damage was I in? I don't remember. All right, we have Garchomp, Floette, Aegislash, King Gambit, Charizard, and Aerodactyl. Their Scarf Garchomp matchup does not look fun for them. It does not look fun for them. Okay. I like Garchomp and Arcanine a lot here. I think Garchomp makes sense. I think Garchomp plus Jolteon is actually pretty decent. I feel like there has to be a Scarf Mon on this team. It's probably Scarf Garchomp. The only problem with like the team I'm bringing is that I just don't have any ground immunities unless I bring the Hydreigon, and I just don't think like Hydreigon's good in this game. They could bring Floette too. Like Floette, Charizard are usually the Mega Evolutions. They could have 3, I guess, with Garchomp, but probably not realistically. I think we bring Froslass, and then last Mon is Arcanine. I think Arcanine is pretty solid in this game, especially to switch into Aegislash. The Aerodactyl Extreme Speed Pressure is pretty nice. Or I guess they have 4 potential Megas because they have Aerodactyl too. I just highly doubt it's... I think there has to be 2 specific Megas, and yeah, it's Aerodactyl plus the Floette. I mean, they're not clicking Wide Guard. My best play is just to click... Is it Arcanine here? I think it's Arcanine Electroweb. Or I T-Bolt immediately. But I think Electro's pretty nice here into the Floette. The problem is I don't think I put Aerodactyl into range of extreme speed afterward. Maybe it is T-Bolt. I think... You know what? I think I'm going to Electro Web. Because Aerodactyl could protect here, which I could see. I'm bringing out my Arcanine, which is pretty good offensively against this. They do Mega Ball at the Floette. That's not surprising. Should be Sash Aerodactyl then. Arcanine will switch into Gleam well. This should be Tailwind Gleam or Protect Gleam. Probably Tailwind Gleam, I imagine. Okay, I hit the Electro, which is nice. Okay, beautiful. I get some good chip on the Aerodactyl. And I lowered the speed on these Pokemon. They're going to go for Tailwind, yep. I could have went for T-Bolt Rock Slide and KO'd the Aero and prevented the speed control, but I don't think I'm in a terrible spot with Arcanine. Oh my goodness, I took more than I thought, actually. I think the Floette is faster than my Jolteon. Because max speed Floette, like, these teams run modest Floette, right? They don't run timid. That'd be 154. That means Jolteon does not outspeed. So it's not Charizard back. Who's the back then? King Gambit? King Gambit Aegislash probably. Okay, I think I see what I'm going for the next turns. I'm gonna double protect here. Oh, they switch out to Floette. Oh, okay. Garchomp in. That makes sense. Although, do I mind this? It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. They do Rock Slide. This is Rock Slide Earthquake. I don't need my... I don't need Garchomp healthy, I think. I think I go into Garchomp and I go for a double attempt to protect. This could be Rock Slide Dragon Claw, though, into the Arcanine, but I feel like Earthquake is probably the better play, because I feel like Dragon Claw's greedy, but we'll see. I do get the double with Jolteon, which is actually kind of nice. Okay. They do Earthquake Rock Slide. Okay, perfect. I wish I could confirm the item on the Garchomp, because I don't know if it's Scarf or not. Here comes Rock Slide. That's fine. They crit me. Okay. I think endgame wise, I want to get Arcanine next to... I want to get Arcanine next to my Froslass endgame. So I'm okay with sacking both here, because I'm assuming last mon's either Aegislash or Gambit. Both are fine to deal with. So we're going to go for a Dragon Claw into the Arrow, and we're going to go for Electro Web. Or not Electro Web, actually. I think I should T-Bolt. Even if they protect Arrow and EQ, that's fine. They go for Earthquake, which is cool. This doesn't knock out Garchomp, does it? I don't think it does. Yeah, it doesn't knock out Garchomp. I'm faster than Arrow after the Electro Web? No, right? I'm slower. Because I'm not max speed. Yeah. Okay, that doesn't knock out. Do I get the KO on Arrow? Okay, I do. That is nice. Okay. Arrow goes down. Tailwind Peter's out. I get to go out in a Froslass. It's going to come down to items. I feel like it could be Scarf Garchomp, which is the concerning part. Floette is in, which is not surprising to me. Froslass in. I need the free swap into Arcanine. That's the thing here. I need the free swap into Arcanine. So I'm going for a Dragon Claw into the Garchomp, and I'm going for Protect. If this isn't Scarf Garchomp, this is an interesting position. Although they could hard swap the Garchomp into Gambit. Oh wait, I took damage on the Arcanine, so I'm in Sucker Punch range at +2, which is not ideal. I think best case would be Aegislash in the back, but worst case is Gambit in the back. Although Garchomp's kind of useless against the Gambit anyway. Alright, protect. We'll find out if it's Scarf Garchomp, I suppose. It's not Scarf Garchomp. Okay, wait, that actually makes this somewhat ideal? Question mark? They go for Gleam? Okay, that's actually... It should be Sash Aerodactyl. Unless it's Yachi Garchomp. Blizzard Flare Blitz seems really nice here. Yeah. I could Extreme Speed plus Blizzard the Floette, but I actually don't know if that even KOs. So I'm gonna Flare Blitz the Garchomp slot because I'd rather punish a switch, and I'm gonna go for Blizzard. Or should I just Rock Slide? Maybe Rock Slide's better. Because I don't take the recoil and I would KO the Floette. I guess the question is, does Moonblast KO Froslass? Because Floette is super strong. They do retreat to Garchomp. Oh, I should have Flare Blitzed. It's Aegislash. Okay. It's a read the next turn. Oh, I should have Flare Blitzed, man. If I Flare Blitzed, I won the game if Froslass lives the attack from Floette. Or I won the game guaranteed. Because Blizzard. Good damage, but Extreme Speed was not to play. Yeah, expected. Light of Ruin. And we dodge. Oh my god, that's clutch. Oh my goodness, that was clutch. Light of Ruin. I don't know if it's Wide Guard Aegislash, so I think I sub Flare Blitz. Flo is in range of Extreme Speed. There's a lot of plays. Actually, is this a play? I think it is. It should be. I get the kill on Aegislash because they didn't Shell Sneak or anything. Did they Light of Ruin my Arcanine? They Light of Ruin my Froslass again. Okay, cool. So Froslass is brought down to the sub. They take recoil, so does it go down to recoil? It does. And then Flare Blitz KOs. Okay. Oh, Light of Ruin. I was waiting for the Moonblast. I think I should have Blizzard Flare Blitz. If I Blizzard Flare Blitz, I'm in a much better spot, but I was not expecting Light of Ruin from the Eternal Floette. But you know what? It works out. They're going to forfeit. I'm kind of surprised they don't go for like multiple protects into a Blizzard dodge, but okay. But we will take it. You know what? Sometimes you have to get lucky in order to have those kinds of games. And champion tier with the team. Nice. Okay, we have Pelipper, Basculegion, Archaludon, Incineroar, Sneasler, and the Dragonite. So there can only be one Mega Evolution on team, and that's going to be the Dragonite. So we do have a Froslass, which is pretty alright here. I'd say Froslass is pretty alright. The question is, what am I leading with it? What am I leading with the Froslass? I think I lead Jolteon because I think Jolteon's pretty good. Electro Speed Control is really nice here. With Froslass, last Mons, I think Garchomp always. Garchomp's really good against this team. The question is what my last spawn is, because Sneasler's not bad, Arcanine's not bad, Hydreigon's not bad. All of them put in work. I think I'm willing to go with Hydreigon. Because it should be special Dragon, I imagine. And it is a good answer to Basculegion, because I can't get Last Respect cleaned up in the late game because of Hydreigon, so I think that's worth it. Incineroar, Archaludon, okay. That's fine, as I lead Jolteon plus Froslass. My best play, I think. They could Dragon move to Jolteon, but I don't think they're gonna go for the Jolteon. Actually, I think my best play is just to protect my Jolteon, swap out the Froslass into Garchomp. They probably either double up the Jolteon or they're going to go for Fake Out Flash Cannon. I feel like one of those two are very likely. So I'll bring out the Garchomp and protect the Jolteon. They Flash Cannon into the Garchomp, which is fine. Did they Parting Shot too? No, they Lariat. Okay. That actually works. The Incineroar taking chip is nice. I don't really need Garchomp in this matchup. It's nice, but not necessary. They really do not have good switches for this. I don't have the best switch-ins for this either. I like the idea of pinning with Electroweb plus Stomping here for damage. I'm gonna target down the Incin. Okay, they give me the Incin, which is nice. So I do get the Stomping off into the Incin. Good damage. Are you Citrus? You are Citrus. Okay, could have KO'd the Incin, but the damage is nice because it's harder to switch into Froslass. It's not Scarf on the Archalon, so I get an Electroweb off. That's nice. All right. They go for Aura Spear. Okay, interesting Aura Spear into the Garchomp. That's fine. And they go for Parting Shot on the Jolteon. But granted, I don't really need the special attack stat. So this works out all right. Is this Dragonite? Is this Pelipper? Pelipper. Wait, I just bring out my Froslass. Yeah, I just bring out my Froslass. I click. Could be Sash. It should be Basket Legion back as the last end. I'm guessing they didn't bring Dragonite. Which is fine. I think I just Did I Thunderbolt? I think my best play is just Electroweb here and sub. Oh my goodness, please hit the Pelipper at least. Okay, I at least hit the Pelipper. I can't believe they stayed in. It's probably Sash Pelipper, but even then, I'm kind of shocked. What are they going for? You get the sub up. I'm kind of surprised because I could have just changed the weather and they would have been in a terrible spot. Flash Cannon, all right. I guess they don't respect the Froslass, which I'm kind of shocked by. Tailwind. My Froslass should outspeed the Archaludon. Oh, the Electroweb damage missing on the Archaludon might actually be huge now. Blizzard 110 and then 70. I think Blizzard's still stronger. I think my best play is probably just to fake Tears the Archaludon and go for the Blizzard. I think Pelipper should swap most likely. Oh, they stay in. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm curious on how the last mon is and how they play it here, but I do get Fake Tears in the Blizzard, and ideally, I outspeed both in the KO. Unless they Wide Guard here. Did they Wide Guard? No way to get both. Yeah, you don't have both. Protect Pelipper makes sense. So I get the Fake Tears off into the Archaludon, and I feel like Blizzard might KO. Oh, come on. It's because I missed the Electroweb earlier. If I hit the Electroweb earlier, I knew I was KOing Archaludon, and I wouldn't have... Oh, that's so unlucky. Granted, the game's not over, because Hydreigon could still win the endgame. I'm going for Electroweb, and I'm going for a Dark Pulse. I don't think I can afford to Draco here, unfortunately. I think I need a crit or flinch on Archaludon most likely, because I'm assuming last mon's Basket Legion, and I think I need as much HP as I can get. We're gonna see Pelipper retreat and Incin. It's fine. Okay, we hit both. Yeah, the Electro would have been really nice damage to Arch. Does Dark Pulse KO at this range? Maybe. Dark Pulse. Okay, I do KO Arch. We're still in the game. We're still in the game. Okay. Because it's the last turn of Tailwind. And if the last mon's Bask, I'm feeling pretty good about this spot. Because I have Sash, Jolteon, and Hydreigon still healthy. If it's Dragon Knight, I can go for Electro. Nice, it is Bask. Okay, sweet. All right, simple play. Just go for Protects. Because there's nothing they can do to punish this. Yeah, there's nothing they can do. Yeah, there's no punish that they have here. Unless it's Substitute Bass, but even if it's Substitute Bass, that's fine. They switch out into Pelipper, that makes sense. They get the rain up, but I mean, I just double protect. Jolteon might be clutch here. Jolteon might clutch up here. Even though it kind of trolled by missing the Electro up earlier, it might clutch up here for the KO. Also, I'm like pretty sure Blizz was KOing. Okay, they flip turn the Jolteon. That's fine. Are you sad? No, wait. Are you Scarf Adaptability? That's my question. I mean, I just Thunderbolt the Pelipper and I Dark Pulse the Basket Legion, right? Because I KO both anyway. Pelipper gonna protect, but I already used my protect on Jolteon, so that's fine. They go for flip turn into the Jolteon. Okay. I might have to hit a Snarl or Electroweb, I think, in the end game, but this is pretty acceptable. I do KO Instant, right? The Instant's at like 9% or something. I hope I'm right on this, because this could actually get a little bit weird if it is able to live the Dark Pulse. Okay, yeah. It was like 11, but yeah, I KO'd the instant. Okay, good. I go for Snarl plus Dark Pulse. It's always my best play regardless. Or Snarl Electroweb. It's my best play regardless. There's no reason to make a hard read here. There's 2 turns of rain. Or 3 turns of rain. So stalling it out is kind of pointless, especially when they could Tailwind. My best play is to Electroweb Snarl, because it covers a double protect from Pelipper, but I also get the chip damage on Basket Legion to guarantee Dark Pulse range or T-Bolt. So I think they go for a double protect with Pelipper and Wave Crash, or they go for a Tailwind. Like, this kind of covers both. I wonder how much Last Respect does. They do flip turn, okay. Please hit the Snarls. Nice. Oh my goodness, that almost KO'd Bast. Was that a crit? Because Dark Pulse is a roll on Basket Legion, yeah. I know Dark Pulse is a roll on Bast because I've seen the calc before. And now, otherwise Scarf Hydreigon would be a really nice counter to Bast. I mean, we always just Dark Pulse. Last Respect doesn't KO, Wave Crash doesn't KO. I think they need crits. They go for Wave Crash, they should not KO Hydreigon. Yeah, perfect. And it looks like crit would have been not a KO either. So Hydreigon putting in the work. Beautiful. Putting in the work. Jolteon was also really good. And if we hit that Electroweb, like, we were in a pretty game-winning spot. Because maybe Jolteon wanted more epic content, wanted to miss the Electroweb that would have made the Archaudon slower than my Froslass. And also would have made it so that I would have probably just KO'd it with Blizzard realistically. But you know what? Jolteon takes it. We get a 6 win streak into more into Champions Tier. I forgot we made Champions Tier the last game because I was expecting to lose it after losing the Froslass. But thankfully, Hydreigon putting in work. Hydreigon putting in work. Very happy about that. All right, we have Eternal Floette, Garchomp, the King Gamma, Basket Legion, Sneasler, and Froslass. So dual Mega with Froslass plus Floette. Probably not Mega Garchomp realistically. How do I want to approach this one? Do I go with Froslass plus the Jolteon? Maybe. It's not a terrible lead here. Because Electro of Shadow Ball and Blizzards and Fake Tears and Shadow Balls are actually pretty nice here. Yeah, I like that a lot. I think I bring Scarf Garchomp in the back. The question is, am I bringing Arcanine or am I bringing Sneasler? Because I feel like Sneasler for the King Gambit is kind of a must. Arcanine's good for the Froslass if they bring it. But I think this is the best way. I could definitely see them bringing the Eternal Floette instead. Okay, I think this is worth it. Because Hydreigon, it's good into Basculegion. I don't think I have a problem with Basculegion with what I'm bringing. Although Flip Turn, I guess, is kind of annoying. But if we chip the Basque, you put in Scarf Garchomp range, which I think is pretty acceptable. King Gambit Froslass. Oh, wait, isn't this the... I think this is the team that got #1 on ladder. I'm pretty sure I know this team now that I think about it. It's Citrus Berry Basque on this team. Also, they lead King Gambit plus the Froslass, which is kind of weird for me here. Okay. So there could be Protect Mind games. They have access to sub. I don't like this spot. I don't like this spot. Because I didn't expect him to play Froslass potential speed ties. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, did we both protect or did they sub here? I feel like they protect Kowtow. Okay. Also, my Froslass went first, so we're either both max speed or they're modest slower than mine, which is good info. I do get the T-Bolt off into the King Gambit. Good damage. Kowtow into Froslass. We'll take it. We'll take it. Beautiful turn. Ooh, how greedy do I want to play, man? How greedy do I want to play? I am feeling pretty greedy here. I am pretty greedy here. I think I'm going to go for Thunderbolt and... I'm just going to Mega Evolve Shadow Ball. Because I live the sub, or I live Sucker from Gambit. They actually retreat to Froslass. I wasn't sure if they're going to retreat it. This is kind of annoying. Sneasler in though, but I get the KO on Sneasler at least, which is nice. Actually, did I can't remember. I remember I calced Sucker Punch from Gambit onto Froslass. Oh, that was with non-boost, so Kowtow probably KOs me. I gave it a Sneasler, which is still not bad though. Yeah. They still gave me the Sneasler, which is nice. So Sneasler goes down. And then they're going to KO. I almost debated about clicking sub there. If I clicked sub there, I was in such a good spot. Yeah, Froslass goes down. Unfortunate, but that's alright. I know my Sneasler is probably faster than the Froslass. I think we go to Sneasler here. Yes, they go Froslass. That's fine. I think my best play is just to protect with Jolteon and probably just go for a Rock Tomb into the Froslass slot. I get the damage into Froslass. I don't know if King Gambit's Sucker Punch attempts. I think I could see Sucker Punch into Jolteon, or I could see Sucker Punch into Sneasler, which both are fine. I think I'm trying to set up an endgame Garchomp-wise. So we protect our Jolteon to avoid Sucker Punch or Blizzard. They do Sucker Punch to Jolteon. That works out for me. We hit the Rock Tomb, which is nice. Good damage to Froslass. Really good damage, actually. And Blizzard. Okay. Sneasler hangs on. I can double the Froslass, or I could go for... They could protect. This is where it gets really annoying because I don't know what the last mon is. I feel like last mon might be Basque. But if it's Garchomp, that's really annoying. But I think it's probably Basque. If it's Basque, I need to KO the Froslass probably. Do they protect? I target one. Okay, good. No protects. I get the Thunderbolt off. Dire Claw will finish it off. Okay, good. So Froslass down. They go for Kowtow into Jolteon. So it brings me down to Sash. Or not Sash even. Bask or Garchomp? Because if it's Garchomp, they would... I don't know if it's Scarf Garchomp on this team. I don't know what the item on the Garchomp is. I know it's like Chople Gambit. That's all and Citrus Bass. That's all I remember from this team. Alongside sub Froslass. So I'm glad I doubled the Froslass. I didn't think they want to take the trade. Bass is coming in. Okay. I'm scouting for protects. I scout for the Gambit Protect. Specifically, the Gambit Protect is what I scout for. Because I think their best play is to jet the Jolteon and protect the Gambit, but we'll see. Let's see if I'm right. No, they click Sucker. Did they double the Sneasler? I think they doubled the Sneasler. Oh, well, I guess we don't get to find out. All right, my best play is still to T-Bolt, then the Bask. Ah, this Bask is going to be crazy in the end game. If they protect the Gambit here, I'm in trouble. Maybe I should Dire Claw the Bask. I don't know. Ah, they did. They jetted the Jolteon. Maybe I should have went Garchomp for the Jolt. No, then I'd be put in Sucker Punch range. Oh, no. Okay, Jolteon down. Close combat into the Gambit. I think it just comes down to some reads. Oh no, this is kind of rough. I don't know who they target. I guess they could double up a slot. They could double up the Sneasler. I think my best play is just to go for Protect with Sneasler and Earthquake here. I should have got the chip damage on Bask. If I lose on the no chip damage, I drew this game heavily. They Sucker Punch to Sneasler, okay. Oh, maybe I should have Stomping Tantrum the Basta. No, I'd still be in Sucker Punch range, so it's not worth it anyway. I'd still lose. Earthquake. Oh my goodness, the Bass is just eating that up. I guess that's because it's like really bulky. And then they last respect the Garchomp, right? Yeah. Garchomp dropped. I need Dire Claw status. Para or Sleep. More ideally Sleep. Oh, if I got chip damage into Bass earlier, this was doable. I shouldn't have close combat. That was a bad play. I should have Dire Clawed the Bask earlier. Yeah. Maybe I should have went to Garchomp for the Jolteon too. I think I had to hard read that turn. Oh wait, does Jet always KO Sneasler? I didn't expect that. I guess that's adamant damage for you then. Yeah, that's probably because it's adamant and not Jolly. Okay. I think there are a few mistakes that was definitely winnable though for that game. If I switch the Jolteon out of Garchomp and I call the Protect on the Gambit, I think I actually have like a shot to win. There was also like turns I could have like substitute with the Froslass earlier in the game, had more resources to be able to handle the Basket Legions. So definitely my fault. I definitely could have played better that one. All right, we have Charizard, Eternal Floette, Sneasler, Mousehold, King Gambit, and the Basket Legion. All right, so dual Mega Charizard plus Floette. Not too surprising here. What am I leading? Garchomp's not bad here in this game. Garchomp's really good actually as a lead. Although there is the Floette. Sneasler's not bad. Arcanine's really good. I'd probably say no to Jolteon, though I could see some usage for Jolteon. Maybe. What if they lead the Eternal Floette plus Mouse? I feel like I want to lead Arcanine Sneasler potentially. Scarf Garchomp's really good though. This is tough. This is tough. I think I want to go with Froslass Jolteon lead with Garchomp Sneasler back. The thing is, I have no fairy switching, so if I get the lead wrong, it's bad. If they lead Float, Mousehold, I'm in a lot of trouble, but let's see. But that means no Charizard, I guess. And then Scarf Garchomp looks really good because they don't have a ground immunity. So I guess that's fine. Okay, they lead Float and Mousehold. I guess this is okay. Yeah, it's not great, but this is okay, I suppose. Do I want to substitute? Do I want to protect? I do live a Dazzling Gleam with both Pokemon. I think my play is just to go for a Blizzard immediately and maybe go for a Fake Tears. And get damage. I need big damage on the Float while the Mousehold's on because I need to get a lot of offensive pressure. If it's Bask back, that's still going to be scary, but I think it's playable. So let's see. Snow Warning, they activate the Float. Okay. I'm not KOing the Float through Fake Tears. They might follow me, I'm not sure, but we'll see. Oh, Helping Hand Gleam, wait. That might blow up my Froslass, I should have subbed. Okay, here's a Fake Tears into the Float and a Blizzard. Good damage, but I'm not enough. Household's frozen, but the Float's not. Gleam? Yeah, this probably obliterates. Oh, wait, Froslass hangs on. Wait, that's huge for me. That's huge for me. Because I can go for Blizzard plus a Thunderbolt. Okay, I'll take it. I didn't expect to live to Dazzling Gleam. I know Froslass is good for death, but I've been disappointed from like some of the calcs, but that's nice. Mousehold either follow me or protected. I get a Blizzard off, I KO both. Yeah, solid. Goodbye both. Okay, nice 4-2 lead, but it doesn't really matter depending on what their back is. Bask is, if it's Bask plus the Gambit, I'm concerned. Which it probably is going to be those Pokemon. Husky Legion. King Gambit. Oh, it's Supreme Overlord too. I want to see how the Bask plays. I really want to see how the Basky Legion plays. I'm going to go for a double protect here. If they have Aqua Jet or if they're going to Last Respect, because if they Last Respect, we know it's Choice Scarf. If it's Aqua Jet, we know it's not Scarf. So let's see. Protect. Okay, it is Scarf. Wait, they didn't Sucker. That's insane to me. That's insane to me they didn't Sucker. What? They 100% have Sucker, right? Yeah, no, I think I'm in a losing position, unfortunately. This is not a good position. Unless they don't have Sucker. Yeah, they have Sucker. I was about to say. Unless this isn't Scarf Bask and they hard red for some reason. Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, it is Scarf. Sneasler goes down. I can make a hard call, I suppose. I'm just surprised. Okay. Because, like, if I just draw Shadow Ball T-Bolt, I just won. Oh. Because if I got the damage into the Bask, I just won straight up. Okay. Garchomp in. This is probably last respect to Sneasler Kowtow to Garchomp. I think I go for like one of 2 crits. Or I guess I could Rock Slide Flinch into CC. What's better? I think Rock Slide Flinch into CC because then I can go for like Rock Tomb and then... Yeah, actually, I think it's Rock Slide. I think it is Rock Slide. In close combat, it gives me the best odds and I don't have to play a mind game. Well, they sucker. Okay, the Garchomp. That makes sense. Wait. Yeah, no, that's... No, that makes sense. Rock Slide does nothing to Bask. No flinch. Okay. Unless I live, but I doubt it. Yeah, +2. KOs. Oh, I can't believe they greeted that, but I guess they were trying to catch a switch since they were behind. I guess I should just capitalize and went on the offense, but the problem is I got the lead wrong and I didn't have any switches in the back. Like, I couldn't switch in against the Dazzling Gleam, so... Oh, that's unfortunate. Because if I led better, like at the start, if I led Sneasler, I think this was a much better combination. Because I would have had one of Froslass or Garchomp or Jolteon. All right, we have Tyranitar, Garchomp, Basculegion, Incineroar, Corviknight, and the Venusaur. Okay. So Venusaur is always going to be a Mega Evolution when it's not paired with Charizard. Is it dual Mega with Tyranitar and Garchomp? I think so. Alright, that's going to be scary. What do I want to exactly do here? I think I always have Garchomp, though. Garchomp's pretty good. I might need Jolteon just to... Do I need Jolteon? Hydreigon's actually pretty good here. Hydreigon is pretty solid. Is it just double Dragon Lead? Jolteon could put in work, but it's just tough to bring against this team. Then again, Arcanine is kind of hard to bring against this team, too. I think I definitely bring Garchomp. What do I expect him to lead? Tyranitar if they're Mega. If they're not Mega, maybe something else. I think Garchomp Hydreigon makes sense. I think I always bring Froslass, because it's pretty decent here overall. What's my last one? Am I going Jolteon, Sneasler, or Arcanine? My heart says Jolteon. My instinct is Sneasler, but you know what? I'm going with the Jolteon anyway. I don't know if they're going to bring Corviknight. That's my question. I feel like you're probably bringing the Sand Mode. I think you bring Tyranitar. I think you're probably bringing Incineroar. I don't know what the last two you would bring are though. Because I could see a combination of multiple Mons. Let's see. Corviknight, Basculegion. Okay. Wait, Hydreigon goes crazy here. Hydreigon goes crazy. Do I want an Earthquake or do I want a Stomping here? Realistically, it's probably Earthquake. It's Earthquake and Dark Pulse. The Corviknight. Basculegion should be fearing the Hydreigon attack, so I'm just going to Dark Pulse. Yeah, they're going to swap out the Bass into something that's probably weak to Earthquake or Venusaur. Okay, so they brought Venusaur. It's probably Tyranitar's last stand. Again, Earthquake off. Which is going to be some solid damage into Venusaur since it's not Mega Evolved yet. Yeah, I mean, I could have blown up the Venusaur with a Dark Pulse double up, but Dark Pulse into Corviknight doesn't seem bad here. Yeah. Bulk up. I'm not too concerned about that because I do have Jolteon. Okay. I'm guessing they're not Tailwind Core, which makes this easier for me. I don't know if that would even knock out Hydreigon at +1 defense. I need chip damage into both, but granted, I'm okay with either. I think I doubled the... I think I go for the Dark Pulse into Corv. I think I get the damage. I'd be shocked if they let me KO the Venusaur here. When the Corviknight is kind of sitting free, able to do anything it wants. So I think I just go for Dark Pulse. I'm actually really glad I brought my Basculegion. Or not my Basculegion, my Jolteon, because Jolteon actually puts in work here. They Mega Evolve Venusaur. They could still protect us, so we don't know for certain. It's not Synthesis. Maybe it's Leech Seed, but I'm not too worried about Leech Seed Venu. Okay, they give me the Dark Pulse plus Earthquake combo. I could have Draco'd the Venu, but this is alright. Yeah, good damage to Venu. Dark Pulse. Good chip. And of course we could get the Flinch. No Flinch, Leech Seed, that's fine. The Venu is still really low. They do flinch, yeah. I mean, that was kind of like the consequence, right? That was the consequence of their actions. Alright. So I think now I want to go Jolteon. I want to go Jolteon and I want to Draco Meteor the Venu. Because the Corviknight is put into range of the T-Bolt now. And I would like to KO the Venusaur on their side. The main reason I want to KO the Venu on their side is because of I don't want them to Giga Drain my Jolteon on the switch. So we'll go Jolteon. Nice. No Protect. I thought they were going to Late Seed or Giga Drain most likely here. I get the KO into the Venu. Venu goes down. Beautiful. That's a great start. Crit doesn't matter there. I'm pretty sure like the Earthquake was doing too much. I'm pretty sure the Draco was easily KOing at that range. They go for Body Press into Hydreigon. Do I live? Yeah, like Corviknight's pretty weak, so I didn't expect to go down there. And I'll heal with Citrus Berry, so that's a pretty nice Citrus. Okay, pretty solid, pretty solid. Who's their last? Basket Legion coming in. I'm assuming it's Tyranitar back, so I'm feeling pretty good about this spot. I can T-Bolt the Corviknight and Dark Pulse the Bass. Yeah, that's fine. Because they can't KO Jolteon unless they Wave Crash or Last Respect. And if they do that, like I get the... If they Wave Crash or Last Respect, I get the damage into Bass to put in Scarf Earthquake range. So yeah, I think Thunderbolt and Dark Pulse is good. They could go Corviknight for the T-turn flip turn, but I still don't think that picks up the knockout onto any of my mods. They go for Wave Crash, which is ideal. They take a bunch of recoil. And we do confirm it is Scarf on the Basket Legion. So Focus Sash Jolteon will come into play, which is massive. And now I'll get a Thunderbolt off into Corviknight and a -2 Dark Pulse into Bass. So this should KO. Yeah, beautiful. That's pretty much the ideal turn I could have asked for. And then last mon, I guess we'll find out what the last is, but I'm pretty sure that Scarf Garchomp cleans up. So Dark Pulse. Yeah, really good damage to the Basket Legion. And I kind of just got him on quite a few turns, so that ends up working out pretty well. Tyranitar back? Yep. And I don't need any of these Pokemon at this point. So I guess it could be Dragon Dance Tyranitar, but even if it's Dragon Dance Tyranitar, they can't win the game, I'm pretty sure. So I go for a Thunderbolt, Dark Pulse, double up into the Bass. They're going to forfeit. Okay. They're going to forfeit. Nice. All right. Jolteon just kind of went insane in the end game. So how was the team? Well, it did start off that great when I tried out the first version of the team, but then I think this new version did come into play. And then as you saw, we were able to get a pretty good win streak on camera. I had like a 6-game win streak with this team. 5-game on camera, which is pretty solid, I think, for the team in general, because I felt that it's not exactly the best build. There are definitely some flaws. Having a bunch of Pokemon that do have the multiple weaknesses, the 4x weakness, I have multiple with Arcanine, Garchomp, Hydreigon, and Sneasler is not exactly super ideal for switching in. And of course, it's hard to switch in with this team. So if you get the lead wrong, it can go really south really fast if you're not able to find a ways to get the knockouts and preserve the mon that's able to clean up in the back. But across the board, felt the team was really fun. I think Jolteon Froslass is actually a really cool combination. I think there's multiple ways to play it. I would definitely love to try out like some of the other versions that I had. The Gyarados, the Salazzle version was also like an idea that I did have in the builder and thought about it. So yeah, there's like a lot that you could do with this duo. I think it's a really cool one. If you would like to try it out with the replica team right here. You can grab it for a week, and then we got way more teams to be able to share on this channel. So if you are interested, make sure you go grab it while you can. Otherwise, you can check out the details of the team down below the description, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more VGC content. As always, why not check out some of the other VGC content that we do have, featuring some of the new Mega Evolutions like Mega Drampa, or you could also check out the recent video where we featured a really strong tournament team that featured the Charizard Y that was able to win a 710,000 player tournament.